What if Pokemon who evolved just once evolved twice? I've asked and explored this question before with my own evolutions and designs, and it seems to be a series you guys really enjoy too. I appreciate all your support, and with that said, I'm here to explore this question again with some designs of my very own. Let's see what it would be like if Pokemon who evolve once evolved twice. So today's video and its Fakemon are being brought to you by the adorable mascot of this channel, Folkachi. And now, not only can you own him in adorable, soft and squishy plush form, but for a limited time, you can also own him in trading card form too. From now until February 9th, every order of my Folkachi plush will also come with this gorgeous limited edition alt art Folkachi trading card. This card is absolutely beautiful. Like, it's genuinely as good looking as any TCG card that I have ever seen personally, and it's also part of an upcoming Histrobi Chronicles TCG that I'm working on. It, along with the plush, are honestly one of the coolest things that I have ever done on this channel, but you can only get the card with this special alternate art until February 9th, and then it'll be gone. So pick up a plush and get the card for free when you do at histrobishop.com with the link in the description below. It also helps out the channel immensely when you do grab one, and it actively helps videos like this one to keep happening, which is extremely appreciated, not to mention you get an awesome plush and limited edition trading card out of it too. So pick them up at histrobishop.com and scoop up that promo card by February 9th before it's gone. Again, that link is in the description below, and a huge thank you as always to all of you guys for your amazing support. Okay, so the first Pokemon I'm going to give an evolution to here is Umbreon. Due to the unique nature of the evolutions, them evolving is pretty much off limits at this point. But what if they did get the chance to evolve again? Well, for Umbreon, that could look something like this. This is Coggion, and it's what I imagine an Umbreon evolution could be like if the evolutions could evolve again. Coggion is a pure dark type, and the concept behind it is not only to be a growth and expansion upon Umbreon's design, but it also brings in that famous theory involving the evolutions and the legendary beasts. The theory goes that the nameless Pokemon that were resurrected into the legendary beasts were a Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon, because not only are they the same type, but the evolutions are also very prevalent in Ecruteak City, where the beasts come from, thanks to the Kimono Girls, who are also involved with the legendary Pokemon of Johto as well. So, with that said, Coggion's design is meant to allude to that and basically imply that that connection is in fact correct. This also would naturally allow you to explore what legendary beasts for the other evolutions could be like as well, which is a really interesting concept too. Coggion's name is an extension of this as well, because it basically combines the etymology of the evolutions and the legendary beasts. It obviously has the Eon of the evolutions, and Kage comes from the beasts. The legendary beasts all use a Japanese word that describes their type in the first half of their names, like Raikou using Rai, which is the Japanese word for thunder, or Suicune using Sui, which is the Japanese word for water. So, Kage translates to shadow from Japanese, which describes this Pokemon's dark type, and follows on from Umbreon, whose name comes from Umbra, which describes a shadow as well. Finally, the operative question here is obviously, how would Umbreon evolve into this thing? Well, I think since this would certainly be a special evolution, it should involve a special evolution method. If this Pokemon was from a Johto-based game, I would say you could level up Umbreon 20 times in the Burned Tower, and it would evolve into Kagyan, further alluding to that legendary beast connection, which I think could be pretty cool. And while that obviously can't be done in every game, I feel like that would also be fitting, because this would be a special Pokemon that you shouldn't necessarily be able to just get in every game either. So I would totally be okay with that, but it probably would need another evolution method eventually that works in every game too. So you guys can let me know your ideas for that in the comments below. With that said though, that is Kagyan for you, and if you'd like to potentially see even more evolutions for more of the evolutions in future videos, because I thought this was pretty cool, be sure to leave a like on this video and comment down below to let me know as well. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and move on to the next Pokemon. And that next Pokemon is another Johto Pokemon who is none other than Lanturn. Lanturn and Chinchou have always been some of my more favorite Johto Pokemon, and honestly, they feel like they've gotta be pretty high up on the list at this point in terms of Pokemon who should legitimately get a new evolution. I feel like Lanturn has a ton of room to improve, so let's see what it could become. This is Angler, and while it might not look like what you imagine a Lanturn evolution to be, I believe it's just about as fitting and well put together, if I do say so myself, as you could get for a Lanturn evolution. Since Lanturn is based on an anglerfish, Angler is too, but it really hones in on that idea a lot more than Lanturn does. First off, Angler is a female-only evolution of Lanturn, and this is due to the fact that the big, scary anglerfish that you probably imagine when you think of an anglerfish are usually female, and this is due to the fact that the deep sea anglerfish, which is probably the most iconic kind of anglerfish, and is that one that you probably think of first and foremost, are all females, at least in terms of the ones that you actually know and will probably recognize the most. The males of this species are much smaller, so as I said, all of the big scary ones that you see and probably most typically recognize are females, and with such a unique case of sexual dimorphism, I thought it made for a great basis for a gender-exclusive evolution. That is why Angler is a little more feminine in nature, and it's also feminine because of the nature of the anglerfish. Anglerfish, of course, are all about luring their prey in with the light that hangs above their head, and Angler ties this into its design by bringing in another layer of inspiration, the succubus. A succubus is basically like a demon or a monster that uses the female form to lure in and seduce men. I thought this was the perfect additional inspiration since the anglerfish is all about luring in prey as well, and it's also got a female theme just like the anglerfish as we've discussed. As such, partially being based on a succubus has made Angler an electric dark type. And yeah, it might seem a bit odd to not have this Pokemon be water type, but this isn't the first time a Pokemon who probably should be water type isn't water type, and since we don't have 3-typed Pokemon yet, Electric Dark will have to do. I also thought that Angler's name was a perfect fit here as well, because even though it is pretty basic, just being the word angler as an anglerfish with lure added on the end, that is exactly what Lanturn's name is too, so it's completely intentional. Lanturn's name is just a corrupted form of the word lantern, so Angler as a name actually follows the naming pattern that its pre-evolution set. Not to mention, it perfectly describes the Pokemon not only as an anglerfish, but also as a succubus with the lure part added at the end. So concept-wise, I think this one actually came together quite well and is pretty neat. And I feel like, as I said, that Lanturn is definitely deserving of another evolution soon, so hopefully it actually gets one before too long. Finally, I'm gonna go ahead and go over Angler's evolution method really quick as well. And the evolution method that I have decided to give it is that it could evolve from Lanturn when you use a Dusk Stone on a female Lanturn, which I feel like is a good way to bring in those dark type vibes to this Pokemon, while also providing for a fun evolution method at the same time. Next up, I'm talking about my guys Brambleghast and Brambleghast. I'm in the minority here for some weird reason, but I absolutely love Brambleghast. I think it is an S-tier Pokemon, and everything from its design to its cute little cry is absolutely amazing in my opinion. But even I, as a Brambleghast lover, was disappointed with Brambleghast. It doesn't really change or add much upon evolving, which I think is one of the problems that a lot of people have with this line. So let's try and redeem it with an evolution, and the evolution that I have given these Pokemon is Brambleton. Now, before we get into this guy, I have got to shout out my man, Oscar Belmonte, for drawing the artwork of the designs you've seen in this video. You should definitely check him out with the links in the description below because he does amazing stuff. Back to Brambleton though, I feel like this works really well as a Brambleghast evolution, but I also feel like this is what Brambleton should have just evolved into in the first place, and I think if it did, a lot more people would probably like these Pokemon. It's still a ghost grass type, nothing really changes there, as all of the changes come in the design and appearance of this Pokemon. Brambleton makes a concerted effort to change up its look compared to its pre-evolution, unlike Brambleghast, and it does this in a way that I think just makes sense for these Pokemon, which is why they should have done it in the first place in my opinion. Brambleton is based on tumbleweed storms, where tons of tumbleweeds can gather together and form giant gatherings of these plants that just end up covering whatever poor community is in their path. This then translates to Pokemon by making it one of those types of Pokemon that is just multiples of the first stage stuck together, like Dugtrio or Vanillux or Magneton or Weezing. That's not the most popular genre of Pokemon, I know, but it works perfectly in this situation in my opinion, which is why I think it's all such a great fit for these Pokemon. Evolution-wise, this Pokemon could be awesome too, as I think it could evolve either by leveling it up as a Brambleghast while having a Brambleton also in your party, and then that Brambleton would sort of get absorbed into Brambleghast, just like the Tumbleweed Storms it's based on, and to also account for the multiple heads of the design. Alternatively, you could also do the same thing, but instead of leveling up, you could take the 1000 steps with the Let's Go feature method that Brambleton uses to evolve into Brambleghast. Leveling up is a bit more straightforward and is also going to work better in more games down the line, so I would probably go with that, and honestly, I think this is a cool idea that would redeem these Pokemon a pretty fair amount. Finally, we've got to get into the name, and the name is pretty simple but also works really well in my opinion. Brambleton comes from its pre-evolutions names Brambleton and Brambleghast, and the simple suffix ton, which simply refers to the fact that it is a ton of these Pokemon all stuck together, referring to the whole Tumbleweed Storm theme, which again I just thought worked out really well, and I think it sounds nice too. Overall though, I feel like this is a pretty cool evolution, and while I wouldn't mind if Brambleghast just ceased to exist and this was Brambleton's actual evolution, I feel like it also works pretty good as a Brambleghast evolution as well. And that, my friends, is what it could be like if more Pokemon who evolved just once evolved twice. If you enjoyed the video, let me know your thoughts in the comments and leave the video a like as well, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't for more. Also, grab a Folkachi plush with that link in the description to get that exclusive special edition alt art Folkachi card, which will only be available until February 9th. You do not want to miss out because after February 9th, it will be gone, and this card is amazing. It's also free with the plush, which is amazing too, and it supports the channel tremendously, which is super amazing and super appreciated as well. You can go to histrobishop.com to pick one up, and that link is in the description below, so be sure to check it out. And thank you to everyone who has already. With that said, I'll be back with another new video very soon. Thanks so much for watching this one, I really appreciate it, and until the next one, as always, I will smell you guys later.